Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Shipyards. I'm Commander Exorcist. Welcome to another edition of the After Action Report, my weekly show where I go over the latest news and updates happening in the Space Engineers universe. Before we get started, if you enjoy the content I create on this channel, then please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and make sure that notifications are turned on so that you don't miss any of my Space Engineers updates. Let's see what's going on out there. Keen did not hold a developer live stream last Friday, so news this week is fairly light. However, we did get quite a unique video on Monday teasing the upcoming modding features in SE2 as part of the VS1.5 update. In the video, the greatness of cosmic horrors is unleashed upon the Space Engineers universe as the Concordia research facility and its surrounding starships are invaded by a horde of yellow rubber duckies. The irresistible squeaking fowl soon turn from one to many as they are unleashed upon the blue starship in a devastatingly hilarious kinetic assault. I'll admit, I might have lolled a few more times than I should have. The presentation is a perfect example of what to expect from the Space Engineers community once modding hits in VS 1.5. The update promises to grant community access to the same tools being used by the developers to create SE2, so we can expect a nearly endless array of new blocks and functions in the near future. Rubber duckies are just the beginning. My only concern with VS 1.5 and modding in general is the functionality of blocks. While modding will likely be extensive across the SE2 ecosystem, I'm confident that it will be handicapped initially by the lack of comprehensive block functions in the current state of SE2. However, knowing the creative power of the Space Engineers community, expect unique workarounds and creative methods that adapt newly developed mods to overcome these limitations almost immediately. Now personally, I hope that the rubber ducky is included in VS 1.5, and this kind of stuff is the kind of thing to make me consider taking a quack at modding myself. You'll find a link to the modding teaser in the description below. Now, this week's developer blog was also light on SE updates, as it focused heavily on AI people, one of Keen's other projects. What we did get about Space Engineers 2 was not without merit, however. In his blog, Merrick focused on more of the design philosophy for SE2, acknowledging that one of the biggest barriers for new players is the level of complexity in Space Engineers. A key design philosophy of SE2 is to make it more accessible for new players while maintaining and, in some cases, increasing the level of complexity in the game. Merrick again reinforced that the development team is prioritizing engaging gameplay loops and meaningful progression in SE2. This has been a common criticism of SE1, in that while there is a lot to do, there is a lack of meaningful progression or gameplay loops outside of mine, refine, and build. SE2 hopes to change that perception by making the core gameplay loops and progression trees a fundamental part of a scripted mission and event system. The aim is to entice new players to try out Space Engineers without being overwhelmed by the immense complexity of its various systems. The bottom line, don't throw everything at the player in the beginning, but introduce new complexities progressively as players' skills develop. I'll admit that it was this complexity that was a barrier to me entering the world of Space Engineers much earlier than I did. It was only after watching some YouTube guides and reading the wiki that I grasped enough of the mechanics to start building my own worlds. Through progression came skill and opportunity, but the learning curve for Space Engineers remains high. If SE2's vision for new progression methods holds true, then the future is bright for bringing many new players into the Space Engineers universe. What do you think of the modding teaser? Are you planning to take a quack at building your own blocks in Space Engineers 2? Does meaningful progression unreasonably frighten you with visions of casuals and noobs running around and ruining everything? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll be back next week with more Space Engineers. Until then, I'm Commander Exorcist. Take care, fly safe, and I will see you out there.